Just checking. Yes, we are live. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode number 2 of my weekly Facebook Live broadcast. I am broadcasting live from the international headquarters of Sync2CRM, and I am so glad that you could join me. So here's the thing. Based on the number of questions that I get, it seems to me that one of the most baffling parts of Facebook ads, for those of you who are just getting started, is the Facebook pixel. And specifically, I guess now, the new Facebook pixel. So today, I'm going to go over the most frequently asked questions about the new Facebook pixel, as gleaned from our Facebook ad questions Facebook group. And then, technology God's willing, I am going to take your questions in sort of an Ask Me Anything session. So whatever questions that you have about them, we'll try that aren't covered in the FAQs, then hopefully we'll get those answered for you, okay? But before we get to that, let me just introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. My name is Kim Snider. I have started 13 companies, including one that I took to number 826 on the Inc. 500 list. In fact, actually, we were on the Inc. list 2 years running. So point being, I am an entrepreneur, just like you. My current project is Sync2CRM, which is focused on helping you get ahead of a wave that I think has the potential to either kill your business or make you massive amounts of money if you catch it. Kill you if you miss it, make you massive amounts of money if you catch it. And that wave is Facebook advertising. Now, that was a way deeper introduction than I had planned on. So let's move on to something a little bit lighter. What you all came here to learn about, which is Facebook pixels. Okay, so step 2 of the Snider growth method, which I have put together for myself as a repeatable way of growing, repeatable and scalable way of growing Sync2CRM rather, which a bunch of us are going to be implementing together on day 2 of my Snider growth method workshop next week, is installing the Facebook pixel and then creating the custom conversions and custom audiences based on the customer journey that we mapped out in step 1. But for those of you who aren't going to be attending the workshop, or you are, but you want to get your head wrapped around pixels before we start, I thought it would be super helpful to address some of the most common questions that I get about Facebook pixels. So here goes. So question number 1 is, well, pretty basic. What is a Facebook pixel and what does it do? Because there are some people who don't know, right? So here's a Facebook pixel it's very simple. It's a small piece of code, very similar to the Google Analytics tracking code, that tells Facebook who has visited your site and what they did while they were there. Okay? So that piece of code is critical for doing 2 things. The first one is it allows you to create lists of people who have done certain things on your website. Like, let's just take some examples. A list of people who have visited your site within the last 30 days, or visited pages with the word product in the URL, or visited your sales page, but not your thank you page. Okay? Now, Facebook calls these lists custom audiences. That's their word for it. And specifically, because they are created by tracking behavior on your site with this tracking pixel, these are called website custom audiences to, what's the word I'm looking for, delineate them, I guess, from Facebook lists created in other ways. Now, once you have the lists or Facebook custom audiences, then you can use those to tell Facebook who you do and don't want to show an ad to. For example, show this ad to anyone who's visited my sales page but not my thank you page, okay? But show a different ad, say for an upsell item, to someone who hit the thank you page of the first item, but didn't hit the thank you page of the second item, right? That's known as retargeting. And in order to get that done, you've got to have a Facebook pixel installed. The second thing that the Facebook pixel does for you is tracking conversions and attributing them back to your ads so that you can know whether your ads are working or not. So you get one Facebook pixel per Facebook ad account. And this base pixel, as it's sometimes called, or it's also known as the universal pixel or the universal tracking code, it needs to be on every page of your site. And generally, just like the Google Analytics code, your website theme is going to have a place in the settings where you can enter that code, and then it's just going to take care of putting it on every page. So it isn't like you've got to go into every single page on your site and manually put it there. So that actually leads us to question number 2, which is, how do I install the pixel? So as I just mentioned, right, it does need to go on every page of your site, but it also needs to go on your e-commerce pages, your shopping cart, your order forms, your landing pages, basically every single web property that you have that someone might visit. You need to put that pixel there. And as a general rule, it's quite easy to do because there, as I said, there's going to be this place in the settings that allows you to place the code before the closing head tag in each page. That's technically where it has to go, but there are exceptions. So for example, let's say you had a WordPress theme custom built for you. Then the developer may or may not have included that functionality, in which case you're going to have them add it to something known as the header template. It shouldn't be hard. It's, again, not a big deal, but you're probably going to have to pay them to do it. Another exception is if you bought a theme, like say a Genesis or a Thesis theme, and there's no place to put that code natively, there is generally a plugin that's going to do the same thing. So for example, there's one called Open Hook for Thesis, or Headway Simple Hooks if you're using Genesis. So if you don't have it natively, look for those. Everywhere else is generally going to require you to remember to put that code on each individual page when you create it, which is a real pain. But I can tell you this, the first time you forget it, and then you run an ad campaign and you realize that you've just spent a bunch of money and you didn't get all your people pixeled, we call that tuition. I promise you, you won't make that mistake again. You'll remember, right? And the more you spent, the less likely you are to make that mistake again. That's just kind of the way we look at it. But let me give you some examples of the sorts of pages on your site that they don't fall usually within the theme headings, or may even be external to your site, where you're going to have to remember to put that pixel. One would be lead pages or ClickFunnels or ones like that. And then even on your site, some landing page builders, like I use Thrive landing page builder, and because it's a builder and it's kind of separate from my site, the pixel that I put everywhere else on my site doesn't carry through to that landing page. So there's a place, in the settings for that particular landing page where you can put it, but you just have to remember to do it every single time that you build a new page. The points for you to remember here are, number 1, that the pixel should go absolutely everywhere, and that number 2, as long as it's a web property that you own or rent, as it were, then there's almost always going to be a place to put that pixel. You just have to find it. And generally, a Google search is going to turn up the directions for how to get that done. All right. So I'm just, looking at my notes here. Question number 3 is, I have multiple sites. Should I use a different pixel for each? And the answer here is, it depends, right? I hate that answer. But the determining factors are going to be Facebook's terms of service and personal preference. Facebook's terms of service don't allow you to run ads through your ad account for someone else. That's really important to know, pixel aside, all right? So if we're talking about websites that you're managing for clients, or technically, I guess, even two legal entities that you own both, based on, you know, a strict reading of Facebook's terms of service, they should each have their own ad account. And remember, I said earlier that a pixel is tied to the ad account, so two ad accounts would mean two pixels. Okay, but what if you have multiple sites? They're not client sites, and so the way I think of it is this: if they are closely related, for example, this will probably be an easier way to think of it. I have Sync2CRM.com, and then I have a separate domain for my membership site, and then I have IS Beginner. Now, I own them all, and I absolutely don't want the hassle of multiple ad accounts. They are very definitely closely related, so I've got the same pixel on all of them. Okay. I see my connection is weak again, so I'm just going to give it a second. By the way, if you guys have questions or anything, I've got a couple more questions left, and so you can feel free to drop those in, and I'll get to them at the end, or even just say hello. All right, looks like it's back on again. All right, here we go. But another example, right? It would be like I have my polo site and my farm site, and this is where personal preference comes in, because those, I own them, they're mine, but they aren't exactly related, and it's very definitely not in the same legal entity. So while technically Facebook would say these need to be separate ad accounts and separate pixels, you could use the same pixel. You would just have to do some advanced planning about how to structure your URLs so that you can easily capture the traffic specific to each site with minimal effort or the chance of screwing it up. But it absolutely could be done. Now, in my case, I would probably opt for separate pixels, just to make life easier, especially since you can put more than one pixel on a site. A lot of people don't know that. So if you gave me, or let's just say I was willing to put your pixel on my site, but I still have my pixel on my site too, and then you would be gathering the same data I was, and you would have the ability to advertise to my audiences as well. Okay, so you can put multiple pixels on a site, and you can also share custom audiences, which is again Facebook's word for list. So with those two things, there probably really isn't a compelling reason to use the same pixel for both, other than having two ad accounts. So I would probably opt for a second pixel there. All right. Question number 4 is, I have the old pixel on my site. Should I leave it once? Should I leave it once I install the new pixel? And the answer to that is no. What you want to do is swap out the old pixel for the new ones. It hasn't been, like, they haven't announced a hard and fast date yet, but Facebook does say that the old pixel is going to go away in the second half of 2016. So you just might as well, switch over now. Now, for those of you who don't know what I mean when I say the old pixel, then you probably don't have to worry about it, because I'm assuming that means you weren't doing Facebook ads prior to the new pixel, which, by the way, came out in the second half of 2015. So you probably have nothing to switch out, so you can just ignore this question. Okay, question number 5. Question number 5 is, how do I set up conversion pixels? So let's just backtrack here for just a second. Conversion pixels are actually a throwback to the old pixel that I just told everyone to ignore. So technically, with the new pixel, there's no such thing as a conversion pixel. But what I think you're asking is, how do I use a website conversion ad objective with the new pixel? So there are 2 different ways to do that now. One is called a custom conversion, and the other is called a Facebook standard event. Now, I'm going to explain the differences and when to use which, but the too long didn't read version is that for most of my audience, because their campaigns are pretty straightforward, we're just going to use custom conversions. That's what I use. But first, like really quick, let me just give people a little bit more context for the question, okay? And I'm going to try to do this very quickly. Just explain the conversion ad objective so that you can understand the question, all right? So, sorry, I think I keep tapping on the desk and you guys are probably vibrating. Sorry. So when you create a new campaign, one of the first things that it asks you for is the campaign objective. And I think there are something like 13 different choices for campaign objective, including things like video views or website clicks, lead generation, and website conversion. So no matter which of those objectives that you choose, Facebook's got to do two things. They have to choose from amongst all the people that are in your ad targeting, the ones who are most likely to do what you want them to do. Because, for example, I might be very prone to clicking links to a website landing page. In fact, I am. But I never watch videos, except for my own. So Facebook knows that. And so Facebook knows to show me an ad with click to website as the objective and not to show me an ad with video views as an objective, even though I might be included in the ad targeting for both. And then the other thing is they have to tell you how many people did the thing you wanted them to do, all right? So if it's a video view objective, right, they know who watched that video because the video is native to Facebook. If the objective was a lead ad form submitted, well, they know who does that. Same with clicking a link to the website in an ad. But the one thing they don't know is who bought from you or who filled out a form on your website, because those things happen on your site, not native to Facebook. So you have to tell Facebook what constitutes a conversion in that case. And so that's the question, right? And so there are two ways of doing this, one being a custom conversion, and the other being a conversion, a standard conversion event. All right. Now, for most people, my preference is a custom conversion. And the reason is it is simple to set up and it doesn't require you to add any additional code to your website beyond that base pixel that we already talked about. So to create a custom conversion, it's really simple. You would go to you would create it in the manager within the Facebook ad UI. So here's what you would do. Sorry, and I do need to look at my notes for this. If you use the business manager under all tools, you look in the measure and report section for custom conversions. Then if you've got multiple ad accounts running, there's going to be a little drop down where you have to potentially choose the correct ad account in the drop down. Then you hit the blue create conversion button, and then it gives you a choice of either URL equals or URL contains. And what you're going to do is you're just going to specify the part of the URL that uniquely represents the conversion that you're trying to get for the ad. So just as an example, the URL for the thank you page, for example, like mine, I'll say, confirmation dash something, right? Confirmation dash cheat sheet. So that would be the piece that you would put in where it says URL contains, okay? If that was the thing I was running the ad to. Now, the beauty of these custom conversions, again, is that they allow you to add, well, let me start again. They allow you to optimize and track without having to add this standard event code to your website. So what I love about them is that, and the reason I use them is that they are super simple to set up, but they definitely do have limitations. And one of the biggest ones, some of them have gone away because these are new. It's the new pixel. Facebook's adding new things, new functionality every day, and a lot of the limitations have gone away. Like before you couldn't edit or delete them, now you can. Up until literally 2 days ago, I think, they were limited to, you could only have 20 of them, but as I was preparing for this, I noticed that they had gone up to 40 that they allow you. So I mean, that's really now the primary limitation. What that means is, to a lesser extent now, but still to some extent, that you've got to use them wisely, right? Although again, you can delete them, which would help. And number two, you wouldn't want to use these if you've got a bunch of campaigns running with tons of different conversion possibilities. That's when you're going to need to switch to what they call the standard event, which is, as it turns out, question number 6. So question number 6 is, what if I need more than now 40 conversions? And the answer there, as I just said, is use standard events, which are a bit more complicated because you do have to go into the site and actually add code to the individual pages. So I'm not going to go into standard events really on this call, just because it really lends itself more to a video where I can show you rather than telling you. You're definitely not going to be able to follow along without that. So just know that if you need more than 40 events, or 40 conversion events, or more functionality in your conversion tracking, that's the way that you're going to have to go. All right. So that is my 6 questions that I got from the Facebook group. And I know that was a lot of information. So here's what I've done. This week, I have put together a cheat sheet for you. And it includes 3 actions that you can take today based on the information that I just gave you. Literally today. It also includes a summary of the answers to all 6 questions, as well as a bonus. And I'm not going to tell you what the bonus is, but I will tell you it's super helpful if you work with Facebook Pixels. So here's how you get the cheat sheet. Just go to sync2crm.com/2, as in episode 2, the number 2, all right? That's sync2crm.com/2. And I will also put on that page, put that link in the description of this video once it gets archived to the our Facebook page. All right. Anyway, so enough of that, right? I hope that was helpful. Join us in the Facebook group. If you're not in the Facebook group and you want to just leave your questions here, I will answer them. I also, over on that page, sync2crm.com/2, once this video archives, I will also, it'll be on our page, but I'll post it over there as well. And along with you can get the cheat sheet over there too, which I've seen a bunch of you guys download already, so that's awesome. So anyway, you guys take it easy, and I will see you same time next week, and hopefully have my Ron, hang on. So Ron's sending me PMs so that I can actually see in my notifications. The workshop starts Monday. So if you want to know more about the workshop, Ron's already signed up, I think. But if you want to know more about the workshop, it is sync2crm.com/BC, like bootcamp BC. And you can get all the information there. Okay? All right. Very good, you guys. I'll catch you later. Hope this was helpful. This is Kim Snider from the International Headquarters of Sync2CRM signing off. Bye-bye.